Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today the Houston Texans have placed quarterback Case Keenum on the injured reserve, and Case Keenum's season has been lost. He started 2 games for the Houston Texans last year against the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns when C.J. Stroud had a concussion, and in 2 starts, he had a 1-1 record, threw 34 for 53 with 291 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, throwing 3 interceptions. Keep in mind, he did not play in the fourth quarter of the Browns game at all. Davis Mills actually got to play in the fourth quarter of the Browns game. So he only played 3 quarters against the Cleveland Browns. He was actually really good in the Tennessee Titans game. He threw about 200 passing yards, but then against the Cleveland Browns, he was terrible. But he was great against Tennessee. He was a big part of the Texans' overtime win, which was a big win for the Houston Texans, which helped them make it to the postseason. But yeah, so that was a big win for the Texans. And Case Keenum even looked pretty good in preseason this year. 23 for 36 in the preseason, throwing 223 passing yards with 2 passing touchdowns. Looked really good. He looked good. That there were talks about potentially Case Keenum being the QB2 over Davis Mills, who looked really good in 2 preseason games for the Houston Texans. Now, it's tough because the Texans released Tim Boyle, who looked really good in preseason as well. Now it's only C.J. Stroud and Davis Mills on the Houston Texans 53-man roster. The way Tim Boyle looked in preseason, I'd love to see the Texans go sign him, and you'll see him be the quarterback on the practice squad. So I couldn't ask for a better practice squad quarterback, a guy that's familiar with this team because he's been with the team for the last couple months and looked really good. And you're going to need a third quarterback with Case Keenum being down. Here's the good thing I would say is even though Case Keenum's not going to be available to play, this guy's a great guy to have in the locker room, on the sidelines, because he's been around and this team loves him. And what I saw, one of the Texans reporters, it was either Aaron Wilson. It was either Aaron Wilson or Cody Stutes. Actually, I think it was Cody Stutes that said, Coach Keenum. And I don't know if this is the end of Case Keenum's career. He's been in the NFL for a while. He is, 36 years old. At the end of this season, right when the Super Bowl will happen, or a little bit right after the Super Bowl will happen, he will turn 37 years old. He's been in the NFL since 2013. I have a feeling that this could be it for Case Keenum. You wait to see this. This is how it ends for him if it does. But also, I love to see it ending with Houston if that is the case. Honestly, I feel like it is coming because Case Keenum, if you didn't know, went to college at the University of Houston. Is one of the if not the best University of Houston quarterback of all time, and then got drafted to the Houston Texans, and spent a couple seasons with the Texans in 2 years in 2013 and 2014. Started 10 games for the Texans. Wasn't that good, but as the years got on, he did get better as a quarterback and develop more. We saw him have some good years, some solid years in Minnesota and in Denver. A really good season in Minnesota and a solid season in Denver. He was a starter in Washington. He's been around. He's played for a total of 7 teams, including one team, the Texans, playing for the Texans twice. But I think it would be amazing if this is how it ended for him. Not the way he goes down with the foot injury and he's out for the season, but with the team he is with, the team that it all started with, the Houston Texans, where he played in 2013, 2014 to start off the career, his career, the city where he played some of his best football in college at the University of Houston. And also, I think, if you ask me, I think a team that he's very comfortable with. And with him being on the sidelines this season for the Houston Texans, I have this weird feeling that if Keenum decides to call it a career after this season is over, because Keenum will be a free agent after this season, which is going to be about a month after turning 37 years old. So if he decides to retire, he this season would be sitting on the bench for the Texans, kind of being like an extra coach. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires. I'm pretty confident DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans would offer him a coaching job going into the 2025 season. I think Case Keenum is here to stay as a Houston Texan in the near future. And I really believe that he has a coaching job if he decides to call it a career after this season with the Houston Texans after his career is over. But, look, after this season, he definitely could continue to play, but I would predict that he's probably done. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I think the Texans will be fine without him. Although, if CJ goes down, if God forbid, knock on wood, pray to God, CJ Stroud doesn't get hurt, but if something happens, then you have to trust on Davis Mills. And last year it felt like the Texans didn't really trust him, but that's why they went with Case Keenum. And he did great in Tennessee. Cleveland, the home game on Christmas Eve against Cleveland and Houston was terrible. It was a terrible performance. They brought in Davis Mills. He threw 2 touchdown passes. And then Davis had a good training camp and a good preseason. So maybe the Texans trust Davis Mills more than they did last year, which is a good thing. And I trust Davis Mills more than I trusted him last year, if you were to ask me as a fan. So, yeah, I mean, I really think the Texans need to go out there and get another quarterback to the practice squad. I don't think you could have just 2 quarterbacks on the team, especially when one guy, CJ Stroud, your starter, missed 2 games last year, and then the other guy, Davis Mills, has never really had any injury problems with the Texans, but he had an injury past in college, and also Texans haven't always fully trusted him as a starter. So I think another quarterback needs to be added to this roster, whether that's the 53-man, which I don't think that will happen, or it's the practice squad. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Texans.